What's good, family? This is Disciple for Jesus Theo, aka DJ Theo for short. DJ Theo for short. As promised, I'm gonna. This is day two of Tip of the CHRISTberg. Day two of Tip of the CHRISTberg. So today is going to be more of a why I'm doing this and a foundational thing. This is going to be labeled day two in the Tip of the CHRISTbergs. On the last one, the term tip of the CHRISTberg deals with tip of the iceberg, because there's so much that goes on behind the scene with an iceberg. As you'll see on the day one broadcast that I did, I guess I can call it a broadcast, but on day one, the link was below. Excuse me, the spiritual solution. It was entitled Iceberg Insight. But it was right below the link that you clicked on. If you're on my Facebook page watching this, or excuse me, if you clicked on this link from the Facebook page, on the first one, or on this one, it's going to be above. The tip of the CHRISTberg, the Iceberg Insight, spiritual solution is going to be above this one. So just go take a look at it. It's a big picture of an iceberg. But on the first one, it was below that link. All right. So, but again, this is day two. So on the last one, I told you that I'm doing these to give you insight to my spiritual solution, to give you the backstory to why I even wrote it, or give you break down why I wrote that spiritual solution, because that's what they're called, spiritual solutions for modern day madness. That's the title of the book, which I'll talk about. Probably not today, possibly tomorrow. I'll mention that, or a little not tomorrow, but the next one, or after that. But right now, I want to focus on, today, I want to focus on the foundation or the backstory, or what led me to do what I'm doing now. Because if excuse me, at the table, these are startups. I have this propped on the table, so eventually I will have other stuff where I can move here and it doesn't shake it. But start where you are. I'm a huge proponent of that. Pray about it. Whatever it is that you want to do, or you feel like God's leading you to do, then move, and then work out the kinks as you go along. Some people will plan, and never move. Pray about it. Plan, proceed. That's my philosophy. Pray first. Otherwise, you're moving on your own. Ask God to lead you, because He may say, "Hold up, no, that's you thinking. Don't go any further. That's you thinking." Or He's going to say, "All right, this is what I need you to do. All right, back on track." And the first one that I did, day one, was about 7 minutes. This one is going to be a little bit longer. But moving forward, I'm only going to get on here. At least that's what's been given to me to do. That's what I've been led to do. Is I'm just going to read the spiritual solutions and break them down, which could take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how swiftly I move through them. But these first ones, I want to give you a foundation of why I do, because if you're going to follow me, well, not follow me, if you're going to follow these writings, what God is giving me, I want you to understand who you're following and why I even do what I do. All right. So again, these are foundational. I want you to recognize, because it's entitled Tip of the CHRISTberg. I want you to recognize and understand and know. You're hearing it from my mouth. Trust me, if I'm telling you this it is what it is. Take it or leave it. But I want you to know all of the things that go on behind the scenes, right? Because I want you to just know the spiritual solution. I want you to recognize everything that it is molding me to do what I'm doing. All right. So I'll start off with Proverbs 19:20. Speaks on wise counsel. Wise counsel is only wise counsel if they're wise on what they're counseling you about. Let me say that again. Wise counsel is only wise. Wise counsel is only wise counsel if they're wise on what they're counseling you about. So somebody can be a great car salesman, but if I'm asking him advice, and he may be very scripted in it, he may be very versed in it, he may be have sold cars for 25 years, can give you, he's great, he's wise, he knows it in and out. He's not wise counsel on getting into real estate. You feel me? So that's what I mean. Just because somebody's smart and wise, what are they wise on? So the counsel that God has given me, I'm telling you where I'm getting this counsel from. Because God puts people in our lives to give us counsel. But what are they wise on? All right. Make sure the people that we're asking, we're seeking to learn more about a certain thing, what track record, what foundation, what base, what knowledge do they have in that thing that you're asking them counsel on? How much do they know about that? They may know a million things about this, but what do they know about that? Should I even be asking them this? Should I even be listening to what they say about this? You know, they may feel that because they're wise, that they know they can tell you something about this that they have no idea about, or they have very minimal insight or knowledge about. Okay. So I want you to recognize that I do seek wise counsel on a regular basis. I'm about to give you some insight on that. All right. So prime example, I spoke on Eric Thomas in day one. Eric Thomas has a podcast. It's Eric Thomas, it's Carl, it's CJ. He has Josh Hatch. You can just Google these names. Eric Thomas has a podcast called Secrets to Success. But if you Google, and I put it in my other phone, if you Google Eric Thomas episodes, iTunes, if you Google that, it has all of his podcasts. There are 157 of them now. They're a little over an hour, right? I've listened to all of them, all 157, at least 3 times. Do you hear me? I've listened to all 157 of, so let's just use a round number. They're a little over an hour. 157 hours, 3 times. That's like 400 and something, 50 some hours, more, over 450 hours. I've listened to them. I don't just listen to them, I implement them. And if you go just take a listen, you'll see the power of it. He comes from a Christian background. He's a Christian, as you will hear him mention in plenty of them. Although it's not a Christian podcast, he is a Christian, a devout Christian, a Christ follower, because there's a difference between a Christian and a Christ follower. You being saved is a Christian. When you're doing discipleship and you actually walking it out and doing the things that Christ has instructed you to do, then you're a Christ follower. All right. I'm a Christ follower. Not saying you have to do this to be a Christ follower, but this is what God has put on my heart for you to do. So you have to do what God has told you to do in order to be a Christ follower. Don't just be a Christian. A Christian just goes to church, never opens his Bible, shows up, sometimes Bible study, and then that's it. Like they really don't do anything outside of that. That's not a Christ follower. That's a Christian. If you're a Christian, you're a Christian. You're still saved. Don't get me wrong. But you want to hear, well done, my good and faithful servant. That's a Christ follower. He'll hear that. All right. So I listened to the podcast, and it's not just Eric Thomas. Like I said, it's Eric Thomas, CJ, Carl, Jamal King, Josh Hatch. And then he has other people on from different areas of life. Inky Johnson. Google Inky Johnson. Just listen to this dude. All Christians. These are all Christians. And I'm influenced by them. Now, this is the thing. A lot of people can listen to podcasts. They can read books. But if you don't implement it, then you're wasting your time. If you can go to church every Sunday, hear the word, know what to do to be better, but you don't do it, you're wasting your time. Why even bother going through those? Don't do it just out of routine because you know you should do it because it's the right thing. Do it because you truly want to grow and get a better relationship with Christ. That's why I do it. And my relationship has gotten better with Christ and is even growing. Have a lot of room to grow, but it's gotten way better than what it is in the past. So again, I'm doing all of this to give you a foundation of who you're following, right? Dr. Kerwin B. Lee. I'm a member of Berean Christian Church for probably 8 years now. I can't remember exactly when, but it's definitely over 7 years, 8, maybe 7 to 9 years, somewhere in there. Dr. Kerwin B. Lee teaches from the Bible. And I didn't understand that phrase until later in life. I was, because I heard someone at our church, at Berean Christian Church, Valanda Shea. She was giving a testimony. It was like the pastor's anniversary or something. And she said, I love it that he teaches from the Bible. And I heard people say that a lot, not just about him. I hear that about him a lot, but I hear them say that about other pastors, like, oh, I love him. He really teaches from the Bible. I'm like, where else would you teach from? I mean, you're a preacher, for goodness sake. Where would you preach from? And then I realized later that there's a lot of people who get up and they preach and they talk, and they really give very vague or none scriptural reference. They're just talking. They're great motivational speakers, but you're not teaching me the Bible. That's what I love about Dr. Kerwin B. Lee. He teaches the Bible. He teaches you how to walk a walk. Then Pastor Kevin B. Lee, Pastor Kevin Lee. I put a B in his, and maybe a B in his initial. I don't know. Pastor Kevin Lee, who's over because Dr. Kerwin B. Lee, he preaches at the main church in DeKalb in Stone Mountain. But his brother preaches at Gwinnett County, Pastor Kevin Lee. So these brothers, they stretch you. They encourage you to do more. They give you templates in church where you fill out the blanks, and it's scripture driven. Oh, I love it. So this is my foundation. This is going on behind the scenes. All of this leads up to the spiritual solutions that I write, that tip of the iceberg that you see, or that tip of the CHRISTberg. There's so much that goes on behind it. And Pastor Tony Evans. I found out about Pastor Tony Evans because we had a men's event at our church at Berean, and Pastor Tony Evans was somebody that we watched on the video prompter. It was about kingdom men. That's what it was about, kingdom men. So that's when I was introduced to Pastor Tony Evans, and so I have his app. I listen to his sermons a lot. So all of these people, and my job entails for me to ride around Atlanta. I can ride for about 8 hours a day. So I'm listening to these people in the car. That's how I listen to so much of the Eric Thomas podcast, is because I ride around going to I do sales. So I have a different places that I have to stop to. And even when I'm home and I'm working from home, I have it playing. Like I literally listen to it all day. I'm listening to something, right? So if you're truly trying to grow, and God is giving you all of these different avenues and these different sources, these different fruits that you can eat and just be nourished from, it has to take effect on you if you're truly trying to grow. If you're not trying to grow, or you want to keep giving into the flesh, then it could very well do nothing for you, or just a little something. I watch these people and listen to these people and follow them because I truly want to grow. And I can tell they're genuine people when you hear them, just the language they use, the lessons they give. If you latch onto them, you will truly grow. If you want to. I want to grow. And so it's caused me to grow. All right. So moving forward. And the second point I got before I actually get into the spiritual solution that I'm going to break down, we're at 14 minutes. I told you these first two are going to go a little bit longer because I'm giving you the foundation of who I am. And I'm going to always reference these in my other spiritual solutions. I'm going to, when I talk to you, I'm going to tell you start from day one, so you'll know who you're following. If you're following me. But again, don't follow me. Follow the word. You don't have to rock with me. You don't have to vibe me, but don't miss the message. Okay? Don't miss the message. If you say, oh, he's fake, he's phony, he's this, whatever. If you hear something in that word, do something with it. All right? David Guzik. I talked about on the first one how I get up in the morning and I read, I pray, I do something Christ-oriented. David Guzik has a Bible commentary. I no longer read the Bible without commentary because I read for understanding. I don't read just to be reading. I don't read just to say, all right, I did that, God. You saw me, I read. That's not why I do it. I read for peace. It really gives me peace when I understand the Bible. I get revelation from it. When I do the Bible commentary, hear me out. I will not read the Bible without Bible commentary. I used to. Out of obedience, I know I needed to read, but I'll be honest, I didn't feel like I was being fed, even though I was reading the Lord's word, because I wasn't understanding everything, which is the case with a lot of people. We don't understand what we're reading, so we don't pick up the Bible as much. All right. And this is the concept that I use. Whatever I'm dealing with, well, first of all, I'm gonna try to, I don't want to go too far off. Okay. Try this. First of all, do Bible commentary. Thankfully, at our church, they post on their website about 1 to 2 days before what they're going to preach about or what Bible study's about. So what I'll do is I'll go into Bible commentary and read up on that, because they give you the scriptures and everything, the book, the verse, scriptures, all that. I'll read that story in Bible commentary before I even go to church. Oh my goodness. The word that's being given is so much more enjoyable and so much more enlightening when you already have read up on it and you're not hearing it for the first time when you get there. So if your church has that on their website where they give you, well, I tell you what, see if you can, if they don't, see if you can suggest that they do that. Hey, pastor, or whoever you can get your hands on. Hey, is there any way that if pastor knows enough time in advance what he's going to preach about, there's some way that we can know what he's going to preach about before he does it, so I can read up on it, so I can be more engaged in what is being. Oh, I'm telling you, it makes a world of a difference when you do a world of a difference. These are all the things that lead up to who I am. It's like I read that Bible commentary beforehand. All right, moving on. So Bible commentary. When you read, okay, so whatever it is, going back to what I was saying before, whatever it is that you're going through, Google it. Like if you're dealing with depression, if you're dealing with how to deal with people on the job, type in scripture and then about what you're dealing with. And then Google's going to find you some scriptures dealing with that. Find one because it gives you like little verses or whatnot. Find one okay, I think this is it. Then go to David Guzik and go to that verse or go to that chapter and Bible commentary and read. Oh my goodness. Do it. Just do it. And watch how it improves the way you get that connection with Christ, or you get understanding, or you get revelation. That this is how I'm operating. Now, I've been operating like this just like prime example, Eric Thomas. I've been rocking with him for over 2 years. My wife knows it. People in my house know it. And other people outside my circle have started to know about it because I'm telling about it more. I've actually joined Breathe U, which is Breathe University. That's just check it out. Google it. Breathe University. I've joined. I'm a part of their university. It's not like a university, like as in, a school or something like that, but it does teach you. Breathe University. That's Eric Thomas branded university. Just check it out. But I just started recently sending, because it just keeps blessing me and blessing me and blessing me. It blesses me in such a way I got to share it. So now I'm sharing it. Because a lot of things I do, like I'll mention in the beginning what God has shown me, and then I don't say anything about it. But believe me, I'm behind the scenes still researching. I'm still, as they say, bubbling on the low with it. So all of these things aren't just, I just started doing it. Like the David Guzik, I can't tell you how long I've been doing his Bible commentary, for years. I've been doing his Bible commentary. And that helps my spiritual solutions. That's where a lot of my insight, and not just him, like he'll give me something in his spiritual way at 20 minutes. I told you these are going to be longer. Listen to it in sections. I'm going to give you everything God has given to me to give to you. All right. But David, and we're done with as far as the backstory. Then I'm going to read the spiritual solution. Then we're going to be out. And give you insight to it, and then we'll be out. But once I get something from, because you never want to use one source for information. So his Bible commentary, I'll match it, or I'll go in somebody else's Bible commentary. Like, this is what I go to first. But if it's something like I'm still not quite getting the answer, or this still isn't clear to me, I'll Google that scripture and type in the words Bible commentary, and then it'll take you to other Bible commentaries and see if you can see some comparison, or see if they worded in a way that it resonates with you or makes sense to you or gives you revelation, because that's truly what you want when you read resolution and resolve. Oh, by the way, I have on a better shirt today. I don't know, this is random. My wife said, "Boy, you look stank in that video." You need don't get on video like that anymore. So I put on the better shirt. So she's watching this one. Okay, baby, I'm listening. I'm going to get my wife a shirt that says, "I'm not your cheerleader, I'm your coach." Because we often look for our wives to champion or to be a cheerleader about where God is taking us or where we're heading. But a lot of times, because they're, as they say, they're our better half, we're one. She doesn't cheerlead a lot of the things that I do, but she will coach me. And I thank God for her. Because you need someone who has a vested interest in what you're doing, because you're married. They have a vested interest, whether you know it or not, to give you guidance. So baby, I have on a better shirt today. I won't have the lazy shirt like she said. She said you look too relaxed, like that dude in the commercial. Anyway, that was random. Sorry. I'm a real person. Like I'm a Christian. I'm a Christ follower, but I'm just a real person. And quit thinking that the closer you get to Christ, you have to lose your realness or who you really are. Matter of fact, it comes out even more, and you're unashamed. All right. So So David Guzzi, that's where I get my Bible commentary from. All right. So that's more of the backstory. And again, these first two videos, like, I'm at 22 minutes now. We may get to 30. All right. Listen to it in pieces, but I'm not going to cut off what God has given to me to give to you. All right. And the other ones moving like the day 3s and on, because this is day 2. I expect for them to be a lot shorter, because I'm just going to get on. There's no need to keep giving you the backstory or the foundational or what even led me to be where I am. Let me give you a little bit more. Okay. These are some of the things that I do. And I'm not bragging. I'm not saying, "Oh, look at me, I'm doing this." That's not what it's about. This is to show you, if you're going to be watching day 1s and further, this is to show you, this is what I do behind the scenes. This is what goes on. These are the parts of the iceberg or the CHRISTberg that you don't see. All right. 1, although there are days that I fall short, my goal is to get up first thing in the morning, to get at least 30 minutes with God. Whether I'm reading, I'm writing, I'm praying, I'm doing something Christ-oriented. All right. Eric Thomas, who I follow, he gets up at 3 in the morning. That's my new goal now. I go to bed at 8:30. Now I go to bed when the kids go to bed, so I can get up at 3 o'clock. So I have like 3.5 hours to myself in the morning before anybody else wakes up. 3.5 hours to spend with God. So, and don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm gonna be transparent. I don't do the full 3.5 hours. Well, if that's what happens, that's what happens. But my goal is to get up 30 minutes ahead of time. Get up at 3 o'clock to give God at least 30 minutes. At least 30 minutes. A lot of times it goes past 30 minutes. It can get to an hour and a half. Sometimes 2 hours, depending on what I'm doing. Christ-oriented. That's how my day starts. You feel me? I'm not saying that to seem holier than thou. I'm saying that to let you know that the dude who's writing these, this is what he's doing. Eric Thomas says he gets up at 3 because it's like he can hear God clear as a bell. And he just blesses his life and he just flourishes because of that. I was like, you know what? I want to get close to God. I'm always trying to grow. So at first I started off with 5, then 4. Now I'm doing 3. And honestly, I'm not even tired during the day, because the endorphins and the happiness of me actually getting up and doing it and getting close to God, he gives me energy throughout the day that I didn't think I would have if I was going to get up at 3. But I go to bed at 8:30. But I go to bed at 8:30 if I plan on getting up at 3. And my goal again is to get up at 3. I don't know how long that's going to last, but that's what I'm doing now. Okay? This is some more behind the scenes. So no, I'm getting up early and I'm reading and I'm doing that. All right. 2, and these are just some things that I do. At the beginning of the year, we had a fast at our church, where we did an 8 o'clock in the morning prayer, a 1 o'clock p.m. prayer, and an 8 p.m. prayer. After the fast was over with, I kept the 1 o'clock prayer to this day since the beginning. Last year. I'm sorry. We did a fast last year because this is 2019. So in 2018, so all last year, I kept the alarm that went off at 1 o'clock. All right. And at first, I started praying because with the fast, you were supposed to pray with whoever you were around, or just pray by yourself if you weren't around anybody. So I kept the 1 o'clock prayer, and I kept that concept. I would just pray with whoever I was around at 1 o'clock when my alarm went off, or I would just pray by myself if I wasn't with anybody. So about in August, September, somewhere around in there, I was convicted. Say, hey, why are you praying by yourself if you aren't around anybody? Why don't you pick up the phone and call somebody and start including people in that prayer? Everybody needs prayer, including yourself. So that's what I do now. It's like God convicted me, so I acted. I was like, okay, Theo, you can do more. I spoke about that on day 1. Do more. So now I just pick up the phone and I call people. At first I would say call people at random. No, whoever God puts in my spirit. I would go through the contacts in my phone. And then there were times where I wanted to skip past a person's name. I was like, nope, this is the next name on the call log. Call them. Obedient. Convicted to do it, and I did it. These are the kind of things that I'm doing behind the scenes. All right. Well, not behind the scenes now because I'm telling you, but I want you to know who you're rocking with. All right. So 3, let me think of something else that I'm doing. Every morning before we leave the house, these are just some simple stuff though. It's simple things. We pray before we leave. I let my kids lead prayer. I teach them how to pray. We lead prayer, right? Be covered before you leave your house. Pray over your family. If they're asleep, go in their room and pray. Like this is real. Prayer just isn't a thing you do. You're talking to God. We were put on this earth to serve God and to speak with him and communicate with him. Let's slow down and do it. Pray. Pray with your family before they leave the house. I let my kids lead prayer. Riley's 8, Chase is 11. They lead prayer, and they're pretty good with talking to God. I just love hearing them pray sometimes. It's real out of a babe's mouth. So those are just a few things. I could go into some other things, but I'm not going to sit here and drag it out. It's already almost 30 minutes. All right. So we're going to go into this spiritual solution. So right here, what I'm about to do now is typically what I'm going to get on and do when I do these tip of the CHRISTbergs. All right. This one is still the one from yesterday because I didn't give you insight to the iceberg insight. The reason I even started to do tip of the CHRISTberg. All right. So when you look on my Facebook page, if you clicked on this link from my Facebook page, and if you didn't, Theo Blake, Theo Blake, Theo Blake, is just friend me, and I'll accept it, and then you can take a look at these on my link because somebody may have shared it with you. I don't know. I don't know how you see it. I'm not sure how you see this. But they're on YouTube as well because I upload them to YouTube, so it comes through in HD. And then I just put the link on the page. All right. So this one that I'm going to read now is actually above this link, this day 2 link. All right. And it's entitled Iceberg Insight. All right. So I'm just going to read it and I'm going to break it down to you what you read. So I want you to go read it for yourself, though. All right. But follow along. Iceberg Insight. The term tip of the iceberg refers to the visible portion of that massive block of frozen water. All right, and when you look at the picture, you'll see it. And we stress the word massive because most people have no idea of how much they don't see or know about with respect to the behind the scenes portion of that monstrosity of an object. So when you see the picture, you will see it, and somebody actually took the picture from below the iceberg, because there's so much ice behind the iceberg. Like the water's here, and then you may see this much above the iceberg, but it's all it is going on below it, as you will see in the picture. It's crazy. The first time I saw an iceberg, like years back, like a picture of it, I was like, is that really how much goes on behind? So and that's the reason I gave you the backstory, because I want you to realize how much goes on before that spiritual solution that I write. Because there's so much that leads up to that. What it's not just what I went through or what I was dealing with that led up to that. It's so many other things. Like I said, me being led by my pastor and the Eric Thomas and his group, the CJ, all of that. My getting up in the morning, my morning and reading and getting time with God, all of that leads to what I write. Okay, it's so much more that goes on behind that. All right, and that's understand that people who I'll get into that. I'm about to jump ahead of myself. All right. Furthermore, in this spiritual solution, the one that I wrote, in this spiritual solutions pick, the scuba diver swimming near the surface of the ocean offers a remarkable frame of reference to just how unbeknownst work is at hand. So when you look at that picture, because when you look at the picture, it looks huge, right? That massive piece of ice. But when you look at where that swimmer is and realize how tiny he is compared to the rest of that, then you truly get an idea of how massive that is. It gives you a great frame of reference, all right? And what's even more remarkable, and this is revelation, this is how we're God-led. I'm going to lead you, this is why I'm God-led and spirit-led. Because I humble myself and I ask God to show me what you want me to do, and I'll do it. Despite try not to lean to my own understanding. I don't want to do that. Leaning to my own understanding will lead me to drinking and drugs, and then who knows what else. Real talk. Or just if not that far, just being sinful and not living a Christ following life. All right. And catch this. And what's even more remarkable is if we look at that undoctored pic, if you look at that picture with a discerning eye, we would notice that the deeper natural carvings in the iceberg forms a cross. Now that's revelation. Now get this. And this is how you know, or this is how I'm going to reveal to you that God leads me. And as you'll find out, if you just started following me with spiritual solutions, because that's what these are called. If you just started following me with spiritual solutions, 99.9% of the pictures that I use are pictures that I took. 99.9% of the pictures that I use in spiritual solutions are pictures that I took. All right. And typically they're my kids in them. All right. Chase and Riley. All right. If I spoke of leaning to your own understanding, because being truthful, I'm building a brand. Spiritual Solutions is a brand. Part of that brand is me using my own pictures and incorporating them into the writings that I do. That's part of my brand. Okay.